was hiding under the big palm tree. She was shaking with fear. Above her, she could see her papa's brown shoe. He was so close she could touch them, but she couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't make any sound. Rachel! Papa's voice was breaking. He was crying while he called her name. Baby, please! Where are you? Papa and the Reverend were moving back and forth, but Papa couldn't see her under the fallen leaves. Then Papa stepped forward. The ground was soft and sandy. His foot broke through. Dirt and stones came rumbling down. Some rocks hit Rachel on her shoulder. She wanted to cry out. She wanted to jump into Papa's arm, but fear had stolen her voice. Papa was standing right above his little girl. He didn't know she was there. Just one step down and he would find her. Just one word from Rachel and she would be safe. But Rachel stayed quiet and Papa walked away. 3 days ago, before that terrible moment, the sun was rising over the New Hope Church. It was Harvest Celebration Day and everyone was excited. Children were running everywhere. They were laughing and playing games. Their mothers were carrying big baskets full of yam and rice and plantain. Rachel was 8 years old. She had dark curly hair and bright eyes. She was wearing her best dress with flowers on it. Rachel, help me carry this basket, said Mama. Rachel picked up the basket of plantain. It was heavy, but she was strong. She wanted to help her family get ready for the big celebration, but nobody was paying attention to Rachel. Her big sister, Kemi, was telling all the younger children what to do. Everyone was praising Kemi for being so helpful. Good job, Kemi, said the aunties. You are such a good big sister. Baby Tunde was crying because he was tired. All the women were gathering around him, making funny faces and trying to make him laugh. Oh, what a sweet baby, they said. Look at those chubby cheeks. Rachel was carrying the heavy basket, but nobody noticed her. She was helping just like Kemi, but nobody said good job to her. Rachel, where did you put the palm oil? Mama asked. Rachel pointed to the basket where she had put it, but Mama was already walking away. She was chasing after Tunde, who was crawling towards the road. Rachel sat down under a big tree. She watched her family talking and laughing with other people. Nobody came to look for her. Nobody seemed to miss her. The church compound was full of happy people. They were singing songs and dancing. Children were running between the food tables trying to steal pieces of meat when their mothers weren't looking. Everyone was having fun, but Rachel felt invisible. Why do you look so sad? Asked her friend Bissy. Bissy was 9 years old. She had gap teeth and always wore her hair in 2 braids. She was Rachel's best friend at church. My family doesn't see me, Rachel said quietly. They only see Kemi and Tunde. Come and play with us, Bissy said. She was pointing to some older children who were walking towards the palm tree behind the church. We are going to pick up the palm fruits that fell down in the storm last week. Rachel looked back at her family. Mama was still busy with Tunde. Papa was talking to other men about farming. Kemi was organizing the children's school choir. Nobody was looking at Rachel. Okay, she said to Bissy, let's go. Rachel stood up and followed Bissy towards the palm grove. She thought they would just play for a little while, then come back for the harvest service. The palm grove was behind the church. The trees were very tall, with big green leaves that made shade on the ground. Palm fruits were scattered everywhere from the windstorm. The older children were picking up the fruits and putting them in baskets. Some boys were trying to climb the trees to reach the fruits that were still hanging. I bet I can climb higher than you, said David, who was just 10 years old. No way, said Samuel, who was 11. Watch me. They were all showing off, trying to see who was the bravest climber. The girls were collecting fruits from the ground and giggling at the boys. Rachel tried to keep up with them, but her legs were shorter because she was younger. The older children were moving fast, running from tree to tree. Soon, Rachel couldn't see them anymore. She could hear their voices, but they were getting farther away. Bissy, Rachel called. Wait for me! But Bissy didn't hear her. The older children were already deep in the groove. playing their games and forgetting about little Rachel. Rachel looked around. All the palm trees looked exactly the same. She couldn't tell which way she had come from, couldn't tell which way led back to the church. The voices of the other children were getting quieter and quieter. Soon, she couldn't hear them at all. Rachel was alone. The sun was getting hot. Sweat was running down Rachel's face. She was getting scared. "Hello," she called out. "Anybody there?" Nobody answered. The only sound were birds chirping and wind blowing through the palm leaves. Rachel started walking in the direction where she thought the voices had been. But after a few minutes, she realized she was going deeper into the groove, not back towards the church. She couldn't hear the church music anymore, couldn't hear the happy voices of the celebration. Rachel found a big palm tree that had fallen down in the storm. Its huge trunk was lying on the ground. Rachel crawled under the fallen tree. She made herself small and curled up like a little ball. Then she started to cry. Back at the church, the harvest service was starting. Pastor Samuel was welcoming everyone and thanking God for the good harvest. People were clapping and singing praises song. The children's choir was getting ready to perform, but nobody noticed that one little girl was missing. Mama was sitting with Tunde on her lap. Papa was sitting with the other men. Kemi was with the choir, looking important in her white dress. They all thought Rachel was somewhere in the church, maybe with the other children, maybe helping in the kitchen, maybe in the bathroom. The service went on for 2 hours. There were songs and prayers and a long sermon about being thankful. People were happy and full of joy. When the service ended, everyone went outside for the feast. Long tables were covered with delicious food. There was jollof rice and fried plantain, and grilled chicken and yam porridge. Families were sitting together, eating and talking and laughing. Children were running around with plates of food. That was when Papa noticed something was wrong. "Where is Rachel?" he asked Mama. Mama looked around. She has been so busy with baby Tunde that she hadn't been watching Rachel. She was playing with the older children, Mama said. But when they looked at the children playing nearby, Rachel wasn't there. "Maybe she went home with your sister," Mama said to Papa. Papa walked over to his sister, who was packing up her food to take home. "Is Rachel with you?" he asked. "No," said his sister. "I thought she was with you." Papa's heart started beating fast. "When did you see her last?" Her sister thought for a moment. "This morning, when we were setting up the food tables. But that was hours ago." Papa ran back to Mama. "Rachel isn't with my sister. When did you see her?" Mama's face went white. She tried to remember. "This morning, she was helping me carry things. But then, Tunde started crying and I got distracted." They both realized they hadn't seen Rachel since the morning. She had been missing for hours, and they didn't even know it. "Rachel!" Papa called loudly. "Rachel, where are you?" People stopped eating and looked at Papa. His voice was full of panic. "We can't find Rachel," Papa told everyone. "Has anybody seen her?" All the family started looking around. They called Rachel's name. They checked inside the church building. They looked behind the kitchen and in the parking area. But Rachel was nowhere to be found. Pastor Samuel heard the commotion and came over to help. "When did you last see her?" he asked Papa and Mama. "This morning," Mama said. She was starting to shake. "Oh God, where is my baby?" "Don't worry," Pastor Samuel said. "We'll find her. She can't be far." He gathered all the men together. They made a plan to search everywhere. "Some of you search the main road," Pastor Samuel said. "Some search by the river. Some search the old mission house runs. And some search the palm grove behind the church." The men took flashlights and spread out in different directions. Women stayed at the church to comfort Mama and to pray. "God, please protect our little Rachel," they prayed. "Please bring her home safe." But as the sun was setting and the sky was getting dark, Rachel was still missing. Papa was searching the palm grove with 2 other men. His flashlight was shaking in his hand because he was so worried. "Rachel," he called into the darkness. "Rachel, it's Papa. Please answer me." His voice echoed through the trees, but there was no answer. In her hiding place under the fallen palm tree, Rachel heard Papa's voice. Her heart started beating very fast. Papa's footsteps were getting closer and closer. She could see the light from his flashlight moving through the trees. Rachel wanted to call out to him. She wanted to run to him and hug him, but she was frozen with fear. What if Papa was angry with her for getting lost? What if she got in big troubles for leaving the church compound? Rachel had never been in trouble like this before. She didn't know what would happen if she came out of her hiding place, so she stayed quiet and still, even though her heart was breaking. Papa's footsteps stopped right over her hiding place. His brown shoes were just inches away from where she was curled up. "Rachel!" Papa called again, his voice cracking like he was about to cry. "Baby, if you can hear me, please answer." The flashlight beam was moving back and forth right over Rachel's head. Papa was so close he could have reached down and touched her. Then, Papa stepped forward to look behind another tree, but the ground was soft and sandy from the recent rains. His foot broke through the loose dirt. Sand and small rock came tumbling down. Some of them landed right next to Rachel. One rock hit her on her shoulder. Rachel bit her lip to keep her from crying out. She was shaking all over, but didn't make a sound. "Be careful," said one of the other men. "The ground is loose here." "I know she's close," Papa said. His voice was full of pain. "I can feel it. But where is she?" Papa was standing right above his daughter. If he had looked down through the palm leaves, he might have seen her. If Rachel had just said one word, he would have found her. But she was too scared to speak, and he didn't know to look down. "Maybe she went towards the main road," said another man. "Let's check over there," Papa said sadly. The footsteps moved away. The flashlight beam got farther and farther away. Rachel stayed under the palm tree, crying silently. Papa had been so close, so very close. But now he was gone, and she was alone again. At the church, Mama was pacing back and forth like a caged animal. She couldn't sit still, couldn't eat. The other women were trying to comfort her. "Don't worry, sister," they said. "The men will find her soon." But Mama couldn't stop crying. Every few minutes, she would call out, "Rachel, where are you, my baby?" Her voice was getting hoarse from calling. Her eyes were red and swollen from tears. "This is all my fault," Mama kept saying. "I should have been watching you. I should have known she was missing." "It's not your fault," the women told her. "Children wander off sometimes. It happens to every family." But Mama couldn't forgive herself. She was Rachel's mother. She was supposed to protect her little girl. Pastor Samuel's wife, Sister Margaret, was sitting quietly in the corner. She was watching Mama cry, and something strange was happening in her heart. Sister Margaret had been trying to have a baby for 12 years. She had lost 5 babies before they were born. Every month, she hoped and prayed for a child. Every month she was disappointed. People in the church whispered about her. Maybe God doesn't want her to be a mother, they said when they thought she couldn't hear. Now, watching a mother in pain over her lost child, Sister Margaret felt something dark growing inside her heart. It was jealousy mixed with longing and something else, something dangerous. All through the night, the men searched everywhere. They went to neighboring villages asking if anyone had seen a little girl in a pink and white dress. They searched by the river, worried that Rachel might have fallen in. They searched along the main road, worried that she might have been taken by strangers. But nobody had seen Rachel. It was like she had disappeared into the thin air. As the sun was coming up, the searchers came back to the church. They were tired and discouraged. "We've looked everywhere," they told Papa. "We will start again when it's light." Papa hadn't slept all night. His clothes were muddy from walking through the palm grove over and over. His face was full of despair. "She's out somewhere," he said. "My little girl is out there, scared and alone." Mama had cried so much that she had no tears left. She was sitting like a statue, staring at nothing. "We should call the police now," said Pastor Samuel. So they called the police. Officers came to the church and asked many questions. "What's your daughter wearing? When did you last see her? Does she have any favorite hiding place? Has she ever run away before?" The police organized an even bigger search. They brought dogs to smell Rachel's scent. They brought more men with radios. But still, they couldn't find her. While everyone else was busy with the police and the search parties, Sister Margaret decided to help in her own way. "I'm going to search the old mission ruins," she told her husband, Pastor Samuel. "Nobody has looked there yet." Sister Margaret took a small flashlight and walked towards the old mission rooms. She was praying as she walked, but her prayers were different from everyone else's. God, she whispered, if you want me to find this child, let me be the one. Let me be the one to save her. Sister Margaret had been praying for a child for so many years. She had been disappointed so many times. Maybe this was God's way of answering her prayers. As she walked through the overgrown area, she heard something, a small sound, like someone crying. Sister Margaret's heart started beating fast. She followed the sound. It was coming from under a big fallen palm tree. Sister Margaret pointed her flashlight down towards the crying sound. There, under the fallen palm leaves, was little Rachel. Rachel looked up with big eyes, scared eyes. Her pink dress was dirty and torn. Her face was streaked with tears and mud. Please, don't hurt me, Rachel whispered. Sister Margaret's heart was pounding. Here was the child everyone was looking for. Here was the answer to all those prayers. But as Sister Margaret looked down at Rachel's frightened face, something twisted inside her chest. This could be her chance. Her chance to finally be a mother. I'm not going to hurt you, sweetheart, Sister Margaret said gently. I'm here to help you. She could call out right now. The search parties weren't far away. She could return Rachel to her family and be a hero. But Sister Margaret didn't call out. Instead, she knelt down beside Rachel. Are you hurt, little one? Rachel shook her head. I'm lost. I can't find my way back to the church. Don't worry, Sister Margaret said. I know where you are. Rachel's eyes filled with hope. Can you take me back to my mama and papa? Sister Margaret looked at Rachel's trusting face. This beautiful child needed a mother, and Sister Margaret needed a child. Maybe this was God's plan all along. Your mama sent me to find you, Sister Margaret lied. The words came out before she could stop them. Rachel looked confused. Mama sent you? Yes, Sister Margaret said. The lie getting easier. She was worried about you, so she asked me to bring you somewhere safe. It was wrong. Sister Margaret knew it was wrong, but the longing in her heart was stronger than her conscience. She helped Rachel crawl out from under the palm tree. The little girl was weak and shaky from being scared for so long. Where are we going? Rachel asked. Somewhere safe, Sister Margaret said. They will see about your mama. But Sister Margaret wasn't walking towards the church. She was walking away from it, carrying Rachel towards a future that only she had planned. Sister Margaret's mother had died 2 years ago, leaving behind a small house far from the village. It was hidden among banana trees and tall grasses, where nobody would think to look. Sister Margaret had been keeping the house clean, visiting there when she needed to be alone with her sadness about not having children. Now, she was bringing Rachel there. Where are we? Rachel asked as Sister Margaret lit a kerosene lamp inside the little house. This is a safe place, Sister Margaret said. My mother used to live here. Rachel looked around the strange house. It was clean but old. I want to go home now, Rachel said. I want to see my mama and papa. Sister Margaret's heart was racing. She knew this was wrong, but she couldn't stop herself. You are home now, she said gently. God sent you to me. Because I don't have any children, He wants me to take care of you. Rachel started crying. But I already have a mama. I don't need a new one. Sometimes God makes changes, Sister Margaret said. She was making up the lies as she went along. Your mama and papa decided you would be happier with me. That's not true, Rachel cried. My mama would never give me away. But Sister Margaret had gone too far to turn back now. She made Rachel some tea and found some old clothes at my feet. All the while, she was planning how to make this work. She would wait until the search died down. Then she would move to another town and introduce Rachel as her cousin daughter who had come to live with her. People would believe her. She was a pastor's wife. She was trusted and respected. Nobody would ever know the truth. In the hidden house, Rachel couldn't sleep. She was lying on a strange bed in a strange room. Rachel cried for her family. She refused to eat the food Sister Margaret made for her. She asked over and over when she could go home. This is your home now. Sister Margaret kept saying, I'm your new mama. You are not my mama, Rachel would cry. I want my real mama. As the days passed, Rachel got thinner and weaker. She was making herself sick with grief. Sister Margaret was getting worried. If Rachel got too sick, she would have to take her to the hospital, and that would be dangerous. But she couldn't let the child die. That would ruin everything. So Sister Margaret decided to take Rachel to a hospital in the next town where nobody would recognize them. Sister Margaret dressed Rachel in new clothes and combed her hair. She coached her on what to say. Remember, I'm your auntie now. Sister Margaret said, your mama asked me to take care of you after she died. Rachel was too weak and sad to argue anymore. She just nodded and let Sister Margaret lead her to the bus. At St. Mary's Hospital in the next town, they waited in line to see a doctor. Sister Margaret felt safe there. Nobody knew him in this place. But then, the impossible happened. Sister Margaret saw her walking down the hospital corridor. Mama, Rachel's real mother. Sister Margaret's blood turned to ice. What was Mama doing here? She grabbed Rachel and pulled her behind a pillar, her heart hammering with panic. Mama was at that hospital because the stress of losing Rachel had made her very sick. Papa had brought her for tests because she had collapsed at home. Mama walked slowly past their hiding place. She looked terrible, thin and pale, and broken with grief. Rachel saw her mother and her eyes went wide. Mama, she started to say, but Sister Margaret quickly put her hand over Rachel's mouth. Shh, that's not your mama, she hissed. But Rachel knew it was. She had seen her real mother, and now she knew for sure that Sister Margaret had been lying to her. Mama heard a small sound and turned around. She saw Sister Margaret behind the pillar with a child. Something about the little girl looked familiar. Excuse me, Mama said, starting to walk towards them. Sister Margaret panicked. She rushed towards the bathroom carrying Rachel. Wait, Mama called after her. But suddenly, Mama felt dizzy. All the stress and exhaustion hit her at once, and she collapsed right outside the bathroom door. Help! Someone shouted. This woman has fainted. Nurses came running to help Mama. In all the confusion, Sister Margaret slipped out of the hospital with Rachel. A nurse at the hospital had heard Rachel say her name earlier. She remembered the radio announcement about a missing child named Rachel from New Hope Church. When the nurse saw Sister Margaret rushing away with the little girl, she called the police. I think I might have seen that missing child, she told them. She was with a woman who seemed nervous and scared. The police came to the hospital right away. They looked at the security camera and saw a clear picture of Sister Margaret and Rachel. That's the missing child, the police chief said, and we know who has her. They also had witness who saw Sister Margaret and Rachel leaving the hospital in a hurry. Now, they know who had taken Rachel, and they knew she was still alive. Sister Margaret knew she couldn't go back to the hidden house. The police would search there eventually. She took Rachel to an old abandoned church building deep in the forest. It was falling apart and covered with vines, but it will have to do. Why are we hiding? Rachel asked. She was no longer the scared little girl who believed everything Sister Margaret told her. Because bad people want to take you away from me, Sister Margaret said. I want to go home to my real mama and papa, Rachel said firmly. I'm your mama now, Sister Margaret said desperately. No, you are not, Rachel shouted. You stole me. You are a liar. It was the first time Rachel had been so brave to fight back, and Sister Margaret realized that her perfect plan was falling apart. The police showed the hospital security picture to Mama and Papa. Even though Mama was weak and sick, she sat up in her hospital bed, and when she saw the footage, that's my Rachel, she cried with joy and anger. She's alive. The police had identified Sister Margaret from the picture. When they told Papa and Mama who had taken Rachel, they were shocked. Sister Margaret? Papa asked. But she's from our own church. Why would she do this? She's been trying to have children for many years, the police explained. Sometimes, that kind of desperation makes people do terrible things. Every police officer in 3 towns joined the search. They had dogs and volunteers searching everywhere for Rachel. The search dog found Rachel's scent at the abandoned church building. When the police surrounded it, Sister Margaret knew her dream was over. She was holding Rachel too tightly, and if she could keep her forever by holding on. Let me go, Rachel said. She wasn't afraid anymore. Through a megaphone, the police called out, Margaret, we know you are in there. Send the child out and nobody will get hurt. Sister Margaret was crying. I just wanted to be a mother, she called back. You can still have a good life, the police said, but you have to let Rachel go home to her family. Rachel looked up at Sister Margaret. Even though Sister Margaret had stolen her and lied to her, Rachel could see that she was sad and broken. You can visit me sometimes, Rachel said kindly, but I need to go home to my real family now. Something in Rachel's gentle words broke through Sister Margaret's desperation. She looked into those young eyes and see forgiveness instead of hatred. It melted her heart and freed it at the same time. Sister Margaret opened the door and walked out holding Rachel's hand. I'm sorry, she said to the police. I'm so very sorry. When Rachel saw her parents running towards her, she broke free from Sister Margaret and ran as fast as she could. Mama! Papa! Mama caught Rachel in her arms and held her so tight they could barely breathe. Papa wrapped both of them in his strong arms, and all three of them were crying with joy. We thought we lost you forever, Papa whispered into Rachel's hair. I knew you would find me, Rachel said. I heard you calling my name that night in the palm grove. You were so close to me. Papa's eyes filled with fresh tears. I was there? You heard me? You were standing right above me, Rachel said. But I was too scared to answer. Papa hugged her even tighter. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I didn't find you. It's okay, Papa, Rachel said. You never stopped looking for me. That's what mattered. They stood there in the forest, surrounded by police and searchers, holding each other like they would never let go again. And for a very long time, they didn't. As the police were putting handcuffs on Sister Margaret, she looked at Rachel one last time. I'm sorry I scared you, she said with tears streaming down her face. I just wanted so badly to have a little girl to love. Rachel looked at her parents, then walked over to Sister Margaret. I forgive you, Rachel said simply. Thank you, she whispered to Rachel. Thank you for forgiving me. Rachel spent several days in the hospital, getting treatment for the weight she had lost and the trauma she had experienced. Her family never left her side. She's been through something very difficult. The doctor told Papa and Mama privately, but children are amazing. With love and support, she can heal completely. Sister Margaret went to prison for 3 years. While she was there, she got help for her grief and sadness, learned healthy ways to deal with her pain. She wrote letters to Rachel's family, saying how sorry she was. Mama read all the letters but didn't write back for a long time. As time passed, Rachel got stronger. Mama found it easier to forgive. She was sick with grief, Mama told Papa. I understand that kind of pain. When Sister Margaret got out of prison, she moved far away. She couldn't face the people she had hurt. She never had children of her own, but she spent her life helping children who really needed homes, children in orphanages who had no families at all. It was her way of making up for the wrong she had done. This story teaches us that love is the most powerful force in the universe. It can overcome fear, heal wounds, and restore what seems lost forever. But it also teaches us that we must be vigilant in our love. We must see the children who feel invisible. We must reach out to those who are hurting before their pain becomes dangerous. And we must never ever give up on the power of forgiveness to transform even the darkest situation into stories of hope. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends who might love to see them. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.